Today, I'm going to talk about the core concept of oneness. This is where all science of mind begins. And I thought it would be really wonderful to just go back to the basics. So at its core, oneness means that there's only one life, one energy, one power in the universe. And that power goes by many names: God, Spirit, Universal Mind, or Infinite Intelligence. But at the essence, it's all the same. It's the creative force from which everything emerges, and it is present in all things. All religions talk about God being everywhere present, all-powerful, and all-knowing. The 3 O's, so to speak. But yet, we don't really believe it. Because if we believe that there is oneness, we would understand that there's no place for judgment. Because if there is only one, and I am one with it, and you are one with it, what are we judging against? What is even the purpose of judgment? So let's start to understand oneness. Ernest Holmes, the founder of Science of Mind, teaches that everything in the universe is interconnected because it all stems from the one source. If you think about it, there's one mind, one power. Everything is created out of it. So you're created out of it. What are you created out of? God. What do we hear all the time? You're created out of stardust. Well, what is stardust? Stardust is the very essence from which all things are created. It's where the whole cosmos began, and we're a part of that. So not only are we created out of stardust, that's our physical being, all the atoms and molecules, but we're also part of the one consciousness. Even though our perspective is limited, we're part of that. You see, the universal mind, the infinite mind, is both transcendent and immanent. It means it's beyond us, and yet it also exists within us. So I have a mind that I'm using, but that mind is also part of the infinite mind, which means what? All the information of the cosmos is right here with me right now, and I have full access to it if I open myself up to it. You see, we are all interconnected because we're all part of this one consciousness. We may appear as individuals separate from each other, but in truth, we are made of the same spiritual stuff. We are one with life itself. So how do we get to that? That's where meditation comes in. When we go into meditation, we step outside of our own mind, our own body, and we allow ourselves to blend into the allness that is all that really exists. I want you to imagine the ocean. There are waves, and there is the ocean itself. The waves may look different, rise at different times, and crash on different shores. But each wave is still made from the same water. The wave is never separate from the ocean because they are one. So while the waves are on the surface, beneath the surface, we're all part of that same beingness. I'm a wave, you're a wave. Sometimes I'm high, sometimes I'm small. Sometimes you're high, small, whatever it is. But beneath the surface of the ocean, there's just one calm presence. And that calm presence is where we strive to be in meditation. So let's look at it from a practical standpoint. What are the practical implications of oneness? When we grasp the idea of oneness, it transforms the way we see ourselves and others. We no longer view others as separate from us or other than us. Think about that. If you're judging someone, what you're really saying is they're separate from me and I don't approve, or I do approve. And it's that approval or disapproval that gives us these preferences, which also causes us most of our pain. We're striving for something, and when we're not getting it, we're upset. We're striving not to be something, and when that happens, we're really upset. But when we grasp oneness at the core of everything, we stop judgment. When we're recognizing that we're part of the whole, the same whole, we begin to understand that what I do to you, I do to me. What you put out comes back. If I treat you unlovingly, rest assured I'm treating myself unlovingly. If I'm sarcastic with you, putting you down, rest assured I'm sarcastic with me and I'm putting me down. Because we all do the same thing to everybody. What we do to ourselves. When we become more situated in the seat of oneness, we begin to realize that cooperation, compassion, and understanding are the natural expressions of a consciously rooted life. We're one with everything. The basic theme of yoga is oneness, it's unity. We've gotten messed up in the West. We think it's doing asanas or positions and that. It's not that. Yoga is, how do I unify myself with all that is, with each other and with all of life? One of the things to understand too is with oneness, there's the creative power. Because we are one with universal mind, we're also connected to the creative power of the universe. This means that each one of us has access to the same creative force that formed the stars, the planets, and life itself. In other words, there's nothing that we cannot accomplish with our mind when we unite in a state of oneness. This is one of the funny things about what we teach in religious science, and this will be another talk, is that we teach the power of prayer, and we call it spiritual mind treatment. And there's 5 steps. Recognition, God is all there is. Unification, that I'm one with it. Realization, I am stating what you want to be now. Then you go into gratitude, and then you release it into the universe. Most people spend all of their time on the realization statement. I am this, I'm abundant, I'm healthy, I'm that. And they misplaced it. Steps 1 and 2, God is all there is, and I am one with it. That's where all effort should be put. The second you realize and experience oneness, the words you speak will be instantly demonstrated. Because you've identified yourself as the power with no limitation. Until you identify yourself as the power with no limitation, limitation exists. Because the power that you're using is an earthly power, and there's tremendous limitation in it. Ernest Holmes tells us that our thoughts, beliefs, and consciousness directly impacts our experience. Why? Because we're always connected to the universal mind, and that mind is always creating, and it's always creating what we're putting into it. So you want to know what you believe? Look at your life. It says all you need to know. Every thought we think is like a seed planted in fertile soil. The soil is the universal mind. And just as a seed grows into a plant, our thoughts and beliefs shape the experiences and conditions of our lives. It comes down to so simply, where you put your focus, your energy goes. Where your energy goes, you create the experience. Oneness reminds us that we're not victims of circumstance. It reminds us that we are co-creators with the universe, and we have a power to shape our lives by aligning that creative force that is always at work. I like to think of grace as the inner knowing that the creative power and the creative force is always working through us, and that we can change at any moment by simply beginning to think a new thought, building a new belief, and as we do that, the universal mind, the creative intelligence, oneness, responds to us. So what about awakening to oneness? How do we do that? The easiest way I have found is to turn your attention inward through the practices of meditation and spiritual mind treatment. You can use affirmations, you can use gratitude, other things, but I find meditation and spiritual mind treatment are my best friends. I use them every day. Also, to mindfully look at the world through the lens of oneness with an open heart. And when you do that, you begin to act from a place of love, compassion, and understanding. Now, I'm not talking about the human heart, the one that has preferences. I'm talking about the divine heart who seeks to experience everything fully. It only focuses on what's in front of it, to fully experience it. Once it's done, it lets it go and experiences what's in front of it now. When you can live with an open heart, without preferences, now you're living as the divine. You see, when we awaken to oneness, we see and recognize others as fellow expressions of the same divine source, instead of competitors or enemies. We have no enemies. Enemies are perceptions of a mind that doesn't believe it's whole. It does not believe in oneness. I truly believe the key to life on this planet is not competitive capitalism, but collaborative capitalism, where we all work together and everyone benefits. Here's our we believe statement, and I think this is so profound. Every time I read this, I go deeper into the understanding of who I truly am. And you can read it with me if you like, if you're watching. If you're listening, just feel the essence of it within your soul. We believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. This one manifests itself in and through all creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. We believe in the incarnation of the Spirit in all, and that we are all incarnations of the one Spirit. So what are we saying? We're saying God is all there is. It is the seen, the unseen. It is the known, the unknowable, and it is the yet to be known. It's everywhere, always has been, always will be. And guess what? You're a part of it. And every day you get the chance to become more and more aware of that divine presence in you. And my friends, when you have that experience, you will not be able to explain it, but it'll penetrate and change every cell in your body, because you will have known God.